I've been working on this piece of wood for, a couple of sessions now, and it's got some really beautiful grain work in here, and this is why I really want to make it into a bowl, or actually into a vase. But it's got a small problem. You see these cracks, and those cracks also are in the wood as it stresses. You can see I have a little bit of CA glue right here and a few other places. It seems to want to crack as soon as I release any of the tension by trimming away some more of the wood. So what I am doing is I am going to treat this very carefully. I have actually put an outside tenon this time, so that when I squeeze in, the cracks won't affect it as much, I hope. And I will, I put a little CA glue in here also just to strengthen that, and also on the edges here. And we'll see just what this does. Well, I've saturated the wood with oil in this second part, and I want you to see a couple things. One, when I put this on my chuck, I put the cracks so that they're between these, so they be pinched in, and instead of being pressured. And if you really notice, and you'll notice on all these, try and get that straight, you'll notice that there's a slight angle, and that is biting in on that angle and is flat on the bottom of each one as you go around. So it has a good grip, and it is as connected as it can be and as flat as it can be. So as it turns, it will turn smoothly. All right, so now I'm ready for the next step, and we will see that in the follow-up videos for this vase. Okay, as you can see, I've set up a Forstner bit now, and there's different kinds of Forstner bits you can use. There's this type that has a little more aggressive edge to it. This one, it just has the points on the edge. They both clear. You want to make sure you have one that really clears out well. There's a couple others that really keep clearing out, because what happens as this goes in is that it tends to clog up, and you have to make sure you stop, reverse out every once in a while to make sure that you're not getting clogged up in there. This can get stuck in there pretty good. Second thing you want to watch for is you always want to tighten this again. Make sure that you have a good strong grip on the chuck, because all this pressure here, even though you're going straight in, does cause a lot of vibration, which can cause this to come loose. Third thing is you want to watch heat. This gets very hot, all the friction going on here, and as you go in, you're going to want to stop, pull out, let it set for a while, because if you start getting the inside hot, or if it even starts to burn, that could increase the factor for cracks and so forth in your wood. You want to make sure that you keep those cool and stop often if you're going to use this Forstner method. You'll notice this is a very slow feeding process. You see I'm turning this very slowly, because if you turn it too fast, it will jam and could either tear out the tenon, or it can jam up here, start spinning here, and get your blade stuck. So you want to go very slowly, let it work its way through. Again, you see all the dust coming out here. You want to give it a chance to do its work, and you are going to want to stop every once in a while, let it cool down. You're not overheating everything. This can get almost red hot from all the friction. So I've already finished drilling out the middle of the bowl, and then I took my scraper. I'm sorry, my scraper here. That's one. And I went around and I curved this edge up to give it more definition. And we have a couple of cracks here that we want to deal with. So one of the ways you can deal with this, and this is just a little trick, put a little bit of the dust from the work that you've done in here as best you can. Okay. And then take a little bit of glue. This is wood glue, and put it in there. I'll put on this one too. And rub it in really good. Get it down into that crack as best you can. Okay. Make sure you get in there. Maybe give it just a little bit more dust on top. Okay, like so. And then you don't want to wait. You don't want this to dry first. You want to get in there with a sanding pad of some sort and start sanding, and go with the grain as best you can. In this case, the grain goes this way. You got to go in there just a little bit. It's a little bit hard on this one because it's hard to tell which way the grain's going. It's kind of going this way and this way at the same time. But I'm going to go this way because it's like it's coming up through the end of the wood. So we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I'm going to take a little bit more of that sand, that dust, rub it in here, and rub it in here. And we're going to do a little bit more sanding. And of course, I got to do some more sanding all the way around anyway. But with the idea of the sanding is that you're going to get a little bit more dust in there, fine dust from the sanding, that's going to go into that. It's not going to make it go away, but it is going to keep it from cracking further in many cases, and will actually hold tight. So where did it go? This one's completely gone. So you see, it's gone. This one's just very slightly there, and I might do a little bit more work on that, see if I can get that to go all the way. But that's a little trick to get rid of some of the cracks. Sometimes you get stress cracks on the outside. That's one trick. There's other tricks, but I thought you'd like to see this one. After doing that little glue trick here, and on the outside here where there's a few pieces, you'll notice that you can't even see where those were. I'm going to try and put a little finish on here. Some of my linseed, my tung oil finish that I use. And sometimes that shows little imperfections, things I need to go back and sand off a little bit just to make them look a little prettier, a little smoother. But this first coat is just to kind of soak in, and you can see it's bringing out some beautiful color in that wood and some chatoyance here, right here. That's called chatoyance. And I don't hardly see those cracks. I do see where the crack was because I know it, but it looks like it's just blended in with everything else. I got a little thing to work on right there with the sanding, but that's why you put this first coat on, to just kind of see what you need to do and fix up any little pieces before you start putting on your hard finishes, because once you put on your hard finish, it's really hard to go back and sand then. So if you didn't feel it the first time or didn't notice it, and this really doesn't feel, but it shows, it looks like a gouge, so I'm going to sand that out just a little bit more. And we'll come back and talk about taking off the tenon on the backside. These are actually called jam chucks, and I make them in different sizes, made out of poplar. And this one that I have on here is actually 2 layers of poplar, 2 pieces that were glued together, and then I put it on the lathe and trimmed it down to this size. It's got a little faceplate on the back side here that holds it on. And what you want to use it for is when you're taking off tenons, you want to put a little piece of this, this is just a scrap. You can get this rubberized material just about anywhere, Walmart or Home Depot or any place. And this is why I always leave that little spot where I had to push it and connected in the first place, because now I have a reference point when I'm putting this in, and I can lock this down, check it for evenness. Let's try and tighten that in just a little bit so it's held in place. And it's running pretty true. Good. So what we can do is we come up here like so, and we're going to trim this away. And we can go at it from a lot of different angles. It still has that CA coating that I put on it, so we have to be a little careful getting that off at first. Then it should go a little bit easier. I'm going to tighten this down just a bit more, so it's not going anywhere. All right. It's always best to come down from the top on this. Since it's not completely supported, you don't want to put too much pressure on it. You want to try and go too fast. So take your time. Down. Well, I brought you back now that it's almost over with. I did resharpen this, and this is, by the way, a spindle gouge that I have. It's a little sharp edge to this, so I can get right down in there. And we're going to turn this on. I'm going to lower the speed just a little bit. And we're going to try and take out the last of this. And the idea is we want to basically try and undercut it here at the end so it just kind of pops off. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes we have to go and get a saw and saw the last little bit off, but whoop, and there it came off. So what I'll probably do is just take a little saw and get the rest of this off, sand it all out, and we'll be done. But this is basically how you take off. Thank you.